Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live watch along of Australia and Mexico. The Matildas are back in action. 2 games against Mexico in this international window. Welcome to the live watch along, everyone. We've got the lineup here on your screens, and it may look a little bit different. I think probably the one area of the pitch where it could look a bit different is midfield. We've got Kennedy, Van Egmond, Sayer, the 3 midfielders named in the lineup. But it could look a little bit different. I think Kennedy will certainly be that deep line midfielder, but Sayer and Van Egmond, they may be. We'll see which of those players plays in that sort of that number 10 position. But I'm really looking forward to this game because it's another opportunity for Joe Montemurro to implement his playing style, and another opportunity for a number of less experienced Matildas to feature in this game, hopefully off the bench in the second half. So feel free to jump in with some score predictions. Coming up against the Mexico side, who have been in good form over the last year or so, picking up some good results. They even defeated Brazil earlier this year, Mexico. So it will be fascinating to see how we shape up against them. We did play Mexico a couple of years ago, 2024, a 2-0 victory for Australia in that contest. And it looks like a decent crowd building in Newcastle for this one. Chilly evening, I'm sure it is, up in Newey. Hope everyone's staying well and warm wherever you're tuning in from. Well, warm. I hope you're staying warm if you're tuning in from Australia or anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere. It's obviously heating up in the Northern Hemisphere, and of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, at least in North America, all the focus is on the Men's World Cup as well. We will be live in about, how many hours is that away? 8 hours or so? No, more than that. 10 hours. We will be live for the Socceroos game against Switzerland, which is obviously a huge one as well, because that is a game that stands up as the final hit out for the Socceroos before the World Cup. G'day Albo in the chat. Albo's vlogs. It is on Paramount Plus. It might be on free to air. I always watch the games on Paramount Plus, so I'm not sure if it is on Channel 10. Feel free to let us know in the live chat if this game is on free to air, but it may well just be on Paramount Plus. I know there's always like controversy about that. People never happy when the games aren't on free to air. Which, look, I get it. Fair enough. But at the same time, you get all of the A-Leagues stuff on Paramount Plus, so get Paramount Plus for the top flight of football in Australia. A very strong lineup tonight for Australia, we should say as well. I'm certainly going for a team that's just about full strength here. Mackenzie Arnold in goals. Ellie Carpenter, her 100th appearance for the Matildas tonight, wearing the captain's armband. She's just been fantastic, man. We have to speak about Ellie Carpenter for a moment because she has been one of Australia's top players for many years now. Such a hard-working player. The number of kilometres she must get through each game. Fantastic player. So she's wearing the captain's armband tonight. Winona Heatley, Steph Catley expected to play those centre-back positions. It feels like that those two, it feels like that's going to be the starting centre-back combination for the Matildas for the foreseeable future, for at least the next few years. Steph Catley, again, played a lot of Matildas games at left back, but she's more of a centre-back these days. So we're expecting to see Caitlin Torpey play that left back role once again. Caitlin Torpey is a player who, had to come in that Asian Cup, and in some big games, some crucial games there, Caitlin Torpey. I remember though in that semi-final, she had a great game. She's a player who is super versatile, capable of playing any position on the pitch really, but especially those wide positions, whether it's a fullback or a little bit further up the pitch. But there's an opportunity now for Caitlin Torpey with Steph Catley moving to centre-back sort of permanently now for the Matildas. There is an opportunity, I think, for Caitlin Torpey to really establish herself as a starting left-back for the Matildas. We do have Courtney Nevin and Jamila Rankin on the back, who are 2 specialised left-backs, but Caitlin Torpey getting the run ahead of them. In midfield there, again, we'll see how it shapes up. Kennedy, Van Egmond, Sayer. Really excited about that midfield, though. Obviously, Alana Kennedy at that fantastic Asian Cup tournament. And good to see Sayer coming in from the start as well. And the front three of Kerr, Ford, and Fowler, that of course is a very, very strong starting 11. And front line there for the Tillies. So, kickoff not too far away. On a chilly night in Newry in Newcastle. This is the first of 2 games that Australia are playing against Mexico. Second game being played next week, Tuesday night, Combank Stadium, Parramatta, Sydney. In terms of players that we could well see off the bench, got a few players who are playing their football in the A-League. Could make an impact in this game. Izzy Gomez coming off a very good season with Central Coast Mariners. Voted player of the season as well. We've also got Letitia McKenna, who made her debut in the previous window when the Matildas were over in Kenya. Amongst the substitutes, Claire Wheeler there as well, Chloe Lincoln, and of course Alona Melig, the 2 backup goalkeepers. Alex Chidiak, Alana Murphy. Good to see Alana Murphy back in the Matildas setup for the first time in a while. It felt like that she'd sort of she felt like she sort of disappeared off the radar a little bit. I'm sure she didn't disappear off the radar for Joey Montemuro, but it's good to see her back in the Matildas setup for this window at least. Charlie Rule also on the bench. It would be good to see her get some more game time. Holly McNamara, Remy Simpson, some attacking options. Hayley Rasso, of course, on the bench. G'day, Oz Football Time 99. Welcome, mate. How you going? Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturdays, wherever you're joining us from. Hit the like button, support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat to support us here at the channel. Kickoff in this match is not too far away. Friendly game between Australia and Mexico. In regards to score prediction, as far as score predictions go, I think Australia should win this game. But I wouldn't expect it to be a substantial win for Australia. Look, hopefully we do get a few goals on the score sheet in the end, but I think this could be a narrow win in the end, actually. Mexico are a side who are certainly on the up of late, been in good form. Some big wins in qualifying lately for them. So we have to be wary here, I think we really do have to be wary here of Mexico. If we can I'll tell you what, in regards to a specific score prediction, if we can take even just a 1-goal win, I think that would be all right. Maybe a 2-1, 3-1, wouldn't mind that. But Mexico, man, I'm curious to see what they offer in attack. How much are they going to sit off? And obviously they're going to be very wary of this Matildas attack. When you see Caitlin Ford, Sam Kerr, Mary Fowler leading the line, that is terrifying for any opposition in the world. So, how do Mexico approach this game? That's another big question. Matilda's playing in Newcastle once again. It feels like it's it's great that the Matildas games, they do sort of rotate them around a fair bit. I remember last year they played a game in Gosford and then in Adelaide. During the Asian Cup, they obviously played in Perth. They did they play in the Gold Coast? Why am I blanking on that? Yeah, no, they did play in the Gold Coast, didn't they? Second group stage game, and of course, numerous games in Sydney. I'm trying to remember the last time the Matildas went to Melbourne. It's been some time. Of course, Melbourne was controversially perhaps, Melbourne wasn't one of the host cities during the Asian Cup earlier this year. And of course, this is sort of the next chapter for the Matildas, preparing for next year's World Cup. And it is interesting, actually, that Montemuro is pretty eager to go for these real sort of full-strength lineups. We even saw it in those couple games in the last window in Kenya. I mean, Montemuro opting to go for a really sort of full-strength starting 11 here. you'd think a year out from the World Cup, this is maybe an opportunity to rotate things a little bit. But perhaps the plan for this, I mean, it's great that we're taking on the same opponent twice a year. We can test our sort of starting 11. And then maybe in Sydney next week, it is a more rotated 11. G'day, Jay. Can Australia beat the US at home for the World Cup group game? My opinion is if this Socceroos side performs to their potential, I think they are capable. And obviously it would be an upset. It would be an upset victory if the Socceroos were to defeat USA in the World Cup. I think Australia are capable. I do believe that. It's going to be a phenomenal match, I'm sure, and a very, very difficult test. But I'll tell you what, my answer may be different in about 12 hours' time. After Australia play Switzerland, we will be live for that one as well. We'll be doing a live watch along for the Socceroos friendly match with Switzerland, which kicks off in the early hours tomorrow morning for folks in Australia. As the teams walk out in front of a very healthy crowd at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle, a stadium that has obviously seen some pretty big football games in the past, the past year at least. Newcastle Jets A-League men's team having a very successful campaign, hosting a home semi-final here. Unfortunately for Jets fans, they did lose that semi-final in the end on penalties. G'day, Sam. Welcome, mate. How you doing? G'day, Jason. Thanks for that, man. As I was racking my brain to try and figure out the last time the Matildas played in Melbourne, Jason mentions that the last game in Melbourne was against Argentina, May 30th, 2025. Marvel Stadium, if I remember correctly. I think it was Marvel Stadium, wasn't it? There you go. It's been over a year now since the Matildas played in Melbourne. So who knows? Maybe for the next set of friendlies on home soil, perhaps the Matildas return to Melbourne. But yeah, since then they've been to Adelaide, Gosford, Perth, Gold Coast, Sydney, Newcastle now. So I think it's great that the Matildas really rotate these games around. You wonder where else they could go to. Maybe back up to... It's been a while since they played a game up in Townsville, North Queensland. That could be interesting. As the national anthems are currently being sung. Some Mexican fans in the house in Newcastle. Throw some score predictions in the chat. I'll tell you what, I'm back in Australia for I'll say 3-1 win. I think I was being... don't want to write off Mexico here. I was going to say 2-1, but considering the strength in our starting 11, I think this should be a 3-1 win at least for the Matildas. It's been a big week for Australia and Mexico. Their relationship, obviously, the men's teams playing last week. We did the live watch along for that Socceroos game against Mexico. 1-0 win for Mexico there as the Socceroos were continuing preparations for the World Cup. So, Australian national anthem coming up, kickoff moments away. It was Marvel. Thank you, Jason, for coming in with that information. Sam says, I will say that Eli Adams' goal was the best atmosphere I've ever been a part of. I've never seen the stadium erupt like that in years, maybe ever. It's certainly been some time. Hey, I mean, perhaps the last time was when a certain Riley McGree sent a scorpion kick goal into the back of the net from long range back in 2018. Was maybe the only time you could match that Eli Adams moment at the end of regular time in the semi-final second leg for Newcastle Jets in the A-League men this season. But yeah, man, I mean, I obviously wasn't at the stadium, but just watching it on TV, you could tell it was electric in the ground, man. And obviously a very exciting moment for Newcastle Jets fans. A game that, unfortunately for Jets fans, they did go on to, unfortunately for those fans, lose in the end. Ellie Carpenter wearing the captain's armband tonight. Love to see it. 100th appearance for Australia. For Ellie Carpenter. One of Australia's great players, and a century of appearances for the Australian women's national team here. Fantastic. And she is starting tonight alongside a very, very experienced and high quality Matildas starting 11. Again, the only real question mark is perhaps around the midfield. How exactly will it shape up? I mean, Amy Sayre could well be playing that number 10 role, but it could be the number 10 in Emily Van Egmond, who may well be playing as that attacking midfielder. Keep an eye on it. Or it could look more like just a 4-3-3 with both Van Egmond and Sayre sort of operating as two number 10s. We'll see how it goes. Sam asks, you going to do any World Cup watch-alongs since the kickoff times aren't that bad? They aren't, eh? Which is like, for Australians, we're cheering. Hey, it's pretty comfortable overall. Yeah, definitely planning to do some watch-alongs for the World Cup. Next week, obviously, is the first Socceroos game. The plan is to do a live watch-along for that one. Kickoff for that one, I believe, is 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is how good. What a way to spend your Sunday arvo watching the Socceroos at the World Cup. We're used to getting up at 2 a.m. Now it's going to be 2 p.m. So, the national anthems have been sung. Teams ready to go. Australia, first of 2 games in this window against Mexico. Preparing for next year's Women's World Cup, set to be played in Brazil. So, very strong starting 11. You look at the bench for the Matildas, and there's a lot of inexperience at Matildas level, but some really exciting players. Hopefully we see plenty of these players get some minutes in the second half. Talking about the likes of Letitia McKenna, Isabel Gomez. We've got Alana Murphy back amongst the Matildas setup as well. Charlie Rule on the bench. Hayley Rasso's there with her experience as well. Holly McNamara, Remy Simpson. Plenty of options for Joe Montemuro, but he's gone for a very, very strong starting 11 to kick off game 1 here. Thanks for joining us this evening. If you haven't done so already, you can consider hitting the like button. You can also, hitting the like button's pretty easy, but you can also consider sending in a super chat to support the channel here. We will be live tomorrow morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time, for the Socceroos matchup with Switzerland. Very much looking forward to that one, because it's the Socceroos' final game before the World Cup. Another big test for Australia against a good side there in Switzerland tomorrow. So, I'm sure the home crowd support is going to play a big role in this game, as it always does for the Matildas. Always a big turnout at these Matildas games. And Newcastle is a city that loves this Matildas team. Australia wearing their home kit. Mexico wearing their green kit. And again, we shouldn't write off this Mexico side. You look at their form in recent times, it's been pretty good overall. They picked up victory over Brazil earlier this year, which stands out amongst their recent form as a real highlight for this Mexican side. But Australia, 2 victories in the last window. And an Asian Cup run that saw them go all the way to the final. And unfortunately for Australia, just stumbling at the final hurdle. A very, very good Japan side claiming victory in the Asian Cup final in Sydney back in March. So, it is kickoff time in Newcastle. Thanks for joining us this evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you got a cup of tea or a bevy next to you, ready for this game. We've got our clock ticking along here, as you can see, which you can sync up to the streams that you're watching. This game is on Paramount Plus for viewers in Australia. I think it's on Channel 10 free to air as well. So, how do Australia approach the early stages of this game and the questions we were asking earlier as well? How does that midfield shape up? Could well be Van Egmond playing as that advanced midfielder as Sam Kerr's trying to drive forward. It could well be Amy Sayre who's sitting a little bit deeper. We'll let the first few minutes play out and then analyse that midfield. But we're certainly expecting Alana Kennedy to be the deepest lying of those midfielders. Cadley, Heatley at centre-back. It really feels like Winona Heatley. I mean, she's been on a great sort of upward trajectory in the last couple of years. Heatley, she's been amongst the Matilda setup for a few years now, but she's had a decent season with AS Roma in Italy, and does certainly feel like she's established herself as a starting centre back for Australia. Velhoon, howdy mate, how you going? Hope you're doing well. Welcome. Thrown in a good position for Australia. Van Egmond with a sneaky little run. Kerr in the box. No look pass. Almost finding a teammate. But Australia looking pretty bright early on here. Dude, look at that packed stadium, man. I mean, of course, this would be a full house if it wasn't for the... I don't even know what's going on that upper deck on that far grandstand there at Newcastle. I was at this stadium a couple months ago now for the F3 derby in the A-League men's, and yeah, that whole upper stand it's obviously blocked off, and they're doing some sort of construction work there, some sort of repairs, perhaps maintenance. Good ball by Fowler. Here's a chance. Ford with space in the box, and the shot is blocked. Tell you what, that pass from Fowler was nice. Just cutting in on the left, drifting one out to the wing. Caitlin Ford was in behind, and she's on it again. Throw-in coming up. This is a positive start for Australia. Very strong starting 11 this evening for the Tillies. Kennedy just knocking it around here, the Matildas. So Mexico, in these early minutes, clearly dropping off a little bit, not wanting to give Australia any opportunity to break into the box. But here comes Torpy. Forward. Space on the edge of the box. Forward again, just running into traffic. Goodness me, the spaces are opening up quite easily, actually. But just running into defenders at the moment. Mexico scrambling at the back to try and keep things covered. Caitlin Ford heavily involved in these opening minutes on that left wing as Mexico survived that little moment of attack by Australia. Thanks, guys, for joining us for this live watch along. Matildas taking on Mexico. First of two friendlies. Very strong lineup tonight for Australia. And a game that, again, I think the Tillies should be expected to win this game in the end. Here's a chance for Kerr. Van Egmond in the box. A fast break for Australia. Breaks down in the end. Fowler still on the attack. A lot of movement happening for Australia. It's been a bright start. This is good. Carpenter teeing it up. Clearance. Goodness me. It just feels like the goal's going to come any second at this rate. This is a very bright start from Australia. Good to see. We just updated the lineup here. This is what it's looking like on the field for the Matildas. Van Egmond playing as that most advanced midfielder in that number 10 role. Fowler couldn't control the shots. Goal kick. 5 minutes in. Australia looking very good. So, strong start for Australia. Yep. So, Van Egmond playing as the number 10. Wearing the number 10, of course, for the Tillies. And we've got Amy Sayer, who's playing a little bit deeper. Sort of as that right-sided centre midfielder. Alana Kennedy towards the left will sit a bit deeper. It is quite a free-flowing midfield setup that Joe Montemurro does utilise, and those wingers stay pretty high and wide up the pitch. There's a lot of space opening up early in this game, which is concerning if you're a Mexican fan, but Caitlin Ford away on the left again. Cross comes in, headed away by Mexico. But I'll tell you what, the Matildas are doing a really good job of just maintaining this pressure. Even if it does get cleared, even if Mexico make the block, we're getting back on the ball and Tell you what, possession stats must be looking pretty strong in the way of the Aussies, because Mexico have barely had a chance to get a toe on the ball. Yes, Valhoon will be doing a live watch along for the Socceroos game in the morning against Switzerland. Busy 12 hours, 12, 14 hours for Australian football fans. Matildas in action tonight in Newcastle, Australia. And then all the way over in San Diego, in California, USA, the Socceroos taking on Switzerland for their final World Cup warm-up match. We will be live for that one, so join us for an early morning kickoff, if you're in Australia at least. Good long ball. Fowler trying to get on the end of it. Goal kick, though. So 7 minutes in, folks, and it's Australia looking very, very good. Very bright start. Just need to try and test the goalkeeper a little bit. That's the only thing that's missing at this stage. Shot from Mary Fowler a moment ago, just sailed over the bar, but the early pressure's been good. Positive signs for the Aussies. Very strong lineup this evening. If you're just joining us, welcome to the live watch along. Hit the like button, support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat. Australia pressing very high up the pitch here, trying to win the ball back. Mexico, I don't think they've broken out of their own half yet. They've won a free kick near the halfway line though. Great to see such a packed house for this game. It's, I believe they announced today that it was sold out. Allocation was exhausted for this game. 12 touches in the opponent's box for Australia. 8 final third entries for Australia. 0 in both of those statistics for Mexico. Those stats coming from the broadcast. And it's been very dominant for Matildas. Another chance to break. Again, dude, space is opening up in the flanks once more. Fowler, early ball is great. Here's Kerr in the box. That was Mary Fowler, the second time in the opening 9 minutes that she has played a masterful pass. And that's great to see from a player who spent a decent amount of time out injured last year and obviously returned for the Asian Cup and made a good impact. And she's looking in fine form to start this contest. Mary Fowler on that right wing. Great to see. So with this rate, I think we want to be getting on the score sheet sooner rather than later. Capitalize on these opportunities. That's sort of one thing that, like in those 2 games that we played in Kenya. Well, let's come back to that because Mexico suddenly have a break on the right wing. Caitlin Torpy just misjudging the flight of that long ball. Mexico are in with a real chance now. Cross comes in. Low delivery cleared by Catley. Australia should deal with it comfortably here. Those 2 games back in April in Kenya, good performances from Australia overall, but there were times where it would have been good to see a little bit more cohesion going forward in attack. Not that we didn't have that. But overall, defensively, I think we're looking okay under Joe Montemuro, but it'd be great in this game just to really sort of, I know it's a friendly, but really go for it in attack and show our quality. We've got quality players in those positions. And look, I am happy to see Van Egmond in that number 10 role. I think that's her best position. She occasionally does play a little bit deeper in that midfield, but she's clearly getting, she's the most advanced out of those three midfielders. Kerr goes short for forward in the box. It's the runs, it's the accurate passing, it's some really hard work from Australia that's creating the spaces and creating the opportunities so far. But that final line of defence for Mexico is staying strong in the opening 11 minutes in Newcastle. I don't mind that we're taking on taking on Mexico in these couple of games. It's going to be important over the next year to play a variety of opponents from across the world to prepare ourselves for next year's World Cup. And you just wonder whether maybe Joe Montemurro is probably eager to test this Matildas side against maybe some top opposition from Europe as well. It's been a while since we've played European opponents. That I would be surprised if that's on the cards in the near future for Australia. Obviously, it wasn't that long ago when we played some European opponents, playing Wales and England. That was last year, wasn't it? But look, I mean, the Matildas in recent major tournaments, obviously not including the Olympics, I mean, in the World Cup in 2023, making it to the semi-finals on home soil, which was a good result. Forwards cross for Kerr, header. Good pressure from the defender. Kerr was just unable to control that with the pressure that was on her. I think a good performance in the 2023 World Cup with the semi-final. Asian Cup getting to the final, I think, was the minimum. And look, it was a very good Japan side. Like, obviously, it would have been great to win that final, but I'm sort of, it wasn't a disappointment, I think, to lose in the end for Australia. They worked so hard in that final, just unable to find the winner in the end. Find the equaliser, I should say, against Japan. Mexico away here. That's a great ball over the top. Down the left. Great chance for the visitors. Edge of the box. The shot on target. And how about that? That's football for you, folks. Good save by Arnold, but 13 minutes in, a complete dominance from Australia. But who gets the first shot on target? It is Mexico. That was a really nice move. The ball over the top was great. And Australia was scrambling there. Australia was scrambling. One shot at goal for Mexico, and that's one on target. G'day, Manuel. Says they're mucking around a bit with the ball. There's been some good play overall, though, I think, for the Matildas moving forward. "14 minutes in, 0-0. Australia with a couple of shots just sailing wide, but Mexico got that first shot on target. And perhaps Mexico were just starting to grow into this game a little bit. There's some pressure on Mackenzie Arnold now, as Australia are playing out of the back. Here we go, Caitlin Ford. Can we spring away here? Once we get past this initial press, that's when the space seems to open up for us. And here we go, nice work. Caitlin Ford is all of a sudden down away through the left. She's coming inside though. Here we go. She could shoot here. She's allowed to run a long way and just didn't shoot. A couple occasions we've just sort of ran into traffic when it was looking pretty easy. We broke past that press and Caitlin Ford was able to run like 60 meters by herself there. But just no final product. So that's what we want to see. We want to see that final product. We want to see that quality in the box. But Mexico are clearly trying to step up a little bit more, trying to press a bit further up the pitch. That is going to open up some spaces, though, in some good areas for the Tillies. We will be live tomorrow morning, folks, for the Socceroos game against Switzerland, so join us for that one. Huge test for Australia, coming up against a good footballing side there from Europe in Switzerland. Nice switch of play from Heatley. Ellie Carpenter wearing the captain's armband tonight. 100th appearance for Australia for Ellie Carpenter. What a fantastic player she has been for Australia for a number of years now. Got the lineup graphic on the screen here. It's looking like I guess you could call it a 4-3-3. It is Van Egmond who's playing as that attacking midfielder. But I do certainly view it as a front three there of Ford, Fowler, and Kerr. Fowler and Ford staying pretty high and wide on the wings there. And you could also, I guess, consider it a 4-2-3-1. Quite interesting looking at Mexico's formation. It is looking like I guess a 4-3-3 as well. Got those 4 players across the back line, 3 players working hard in midfield. Maybe trying to match the Matildas here. Australia is trying to work it up the pitch through some throw-ins at the moment. 17 minutes in, it's 0-0. And after some good early opportunities to score early, Australia just trying to find something now. Kerr, Van Egmond. Again, the pass just blocked by an opponent. Going to need to see a little bit more creativity. Mexico could break again here. Nice football from Mexico, man. They're knocking it around that midfield area really nicely. Defensive test coming up here for Australia. I mean, we sort of said it. I mentioned pre-game, that they've been a really good form of late, Mexico, and an impressive victory against Brazil earlier this year as well. This is a team that is seemingly on the up in regards to their form and their football overall. Long ball for Mexico. Cut out by Carpenter, but they're on the ball again here. Space down the left for Mexico. They're in the box. The cross comes in and it's lovely, and the shot is just wide. Well, Australia scrambling to get back. And I think the concern is how that opened up in the left. I'm not sure if Carpenter was aware that there was a player down the left wing. Carpenter didn't seem very urgent. There wasn't much urgency to get out to block the cross there. But probably the more concerning thing as well is how Mexico were able to get a shot away there in the box. So that's warning signs, I think, for Australia. But I don't mind it. We had a pretty cruisy start. The opening 5 minutes were pretty dominant from Australia. And that's given away. Mexico are in here. Great chance. Just a wayward touch. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was almost a certain goal-scoring opportunity for the visitors. What happened there? Playing out from the back, and it just gave it away. Oh, boy. Manuel mentions 10 years ago Matildas would have won 5-0. Perhaps. I mean, it's great to see that Mexico are continuing to improve and rise up the ranks. They're doing very well in CONCACAF qualifying at the moment. And I'm sure they're a side that, I mean, they would obviously love to get some victories against Australia here. That would be huge for Mexico. But look, they're not too far behind Australia in the rankings. 27th, I believe, at the moment in the rankings, Mexico. So this is a good test for Australia. Mexico down the right-hand side. Great chance for them again. Oh, beautiful turn in the box. But Winona Healy's there to clear. Well, dude, the momentum in this game has completely been turned on its head. All of a sudden, Mexico are looking more likely to score. Another great opportunity. I mean, that super turn in the box, just unable to get that control in the end. Mexico still on the ball and looking dangerous. So this is a moment where the Aussies just have to maintain some concentration, giving the ball away on a couple of occasions. As Manuel says, definitely the momentum has changed dramatically. Mexico in control. Saya clears it away. It's another throw for Mexico in a dangerous position. 21 minutes in. And Australia just have to get themselves on the ball and settle things down because Mexico have had a couple good openings in the box. And if this keeps happening, it's the visitors who could find themselves scoring first tonight. Good win of the ball there. It's a long ball from Kennedy. Was that a shot? That must have been a shot. Alana Kennedy has just gone for a shot from about 60 metres out, I think. Maybe more. But the goalkeeper was there to claim. "22 minutes in, folks. 0-0 between Australia and Mexico in this friendly. And Australia were looking pretty good for the first 5-10 minutes. And Mexico have turned things around. They have had some good opportunities. Shot on target earlier on and a close range shot just sailing wide of the post. Joe Montemuro, he's on the cameras right now. He's standing up. He's getting involved. He's talking to his players. I mean, I'm sure he's wanting them to just regain some control. That's right, Manuel, who says Matildas just need to calm down in defence, go back to the process of putting pressure back on Mexico. Yep. So Australia just playing out from the back here at the moment. Arnold on the ball. Catley on the left. But Mexico, look at this press from Mexico, man. This is proving a bit of a headache for Australia. We're just struggling to break out of the back at the moment. Arnold opts to go long. That's given away, though. Mexico are back on the ball. And chasing this one in behind, it's out. 23 minutes in now. Mexico with another throw-in alongside the box. This is all of a sudden a real shaky moment. Last few moments for the Aussies. Mexico are on top. And are in control. We've just been struggling to maintain the ball. Look, I don't mind Mackenzie Arnold going long a moment ago there when she had the ball because the pressure was on. The short passes weren't really on. Just feels a bit static at the moment, I think, for Australia when you look further up the pitch. Just need to see a bit more movement, perhaps. Carpenter on the right. Again, can we break past this press? Because, again, when we get past this initial press, we're fine, bro. Heatley caught on the ball. It's a foul. Surprise call. Palacios has been pulled up for the free kick here. So Heatley, she go long. She does go long. Look, again, I think the expectation, Australia, I think, should be winning this game in the end. Long way to go in this contest. But we clearly need to see a little bit of improvement from the Matildas if we are going to claim victory in this game because the levels clearly dropped off in the last 10 minutes now for the Tillies. Just got to regain a bit of control. Assert our dominance because we had it. We had it in the first 5-10 minutes. Mexico were having to sit back and Australia were looking dangerous, but 25 minutes in now. So, what do we do this time around? Again, playing up from the back through Mackenzie Arnold. Join us tomorrow morning. We will be live for the Socceroos game against Switzerland. Huge game for the Socceroos. Big test coming up. Final match before the World Cup. Very much looking forward to the World Cup, man. Gets underway in, 4 or 5 days' time? Not long. Australia with an opportunity to press here. Now Australia, that press has paid off. The Aussies have a throw-in coming up in the forward half. Hope you guys are enjoying this game so far. A fascinating battle is developing in Newcastle. Sayer's just been caught on the ball here. Mexico, do they go for the fast break once more? They try to, but it does break down. Thanks for joining us for this live watch along tonight, folks. If you haven't done so already, you can hit the like button, jump in the live chat. What do you make of this game so far? 26 minutes in, 0-0 between Australia and Mexico. And you can also consider sending in a super chat to support the channel. It's been pretty busy in the last week. We did a few videos during the week, previews for obviously this game and the Socceroos game. I also did a fun video during the week as well, reacting to my 2025 Socceroos World Cup squad prediction that I made. It was pretty much prior to the start of the most countries' league seasons, and I predicted the Socceroos squad, and there were a good number of players who I predicted to be in that final World Cup squad that didn't make it in the end. Obviously, some of those guys unfortunately injured for the Roos as well, but you can check out those videos on the channel afterwards if you're interested. Good switch of play by Mexico. May well just sail out of play. It does. So, but again, this is like more examples of Mexico just really sort of leveling things up here in regards to who is controlling this game, who is on top. And so far. Well, possession stats are interesting. The broadcast have just flicked up the possession stats. 63 for Australia, 37 for Mexico. Manuel also mentions the standard worldwide has dramatically improved. It has, yeah, of course. It's great to see. Passing accuracy, 87 for Australia, 81% for Mexico. Both looking pretty good there. Both teams have had some decent spells in possession. But it is breaking down in the final third at times for Australia, which is where we want to see it improve. The Aussies only played Mexico a couple of years ago. Victory for the Matildas on that occasion. That game was played over in the USA. So Mexico with a patient build-up here. Looking to get something happening down the right-hand side. Ball over the top, though. And they may be away. Past Caitlin Torpey. Mexico with a cross. Not initially cleared. And it's Mary Fowler who's getting back to do some defensive work there. Ford. Good run. Caitlin Ford. Great run indeed. Through for Kerr. Kerr is in the box. Great chance for Australia. And Sayer off the post. Flag is up anyway. As Manuel mentions, great chance. Great chance, but off the bat. Great chance indeed, mate. Amy Sayer popping up in the box. And that's what we want to see from the Matildas. It was a fast break. And it was just the determination, the persistence there from Caitlin Ford, who initially had been, well, almost dispossessed, but she just kept going. Great pass for Kerr. Kerr was onside, actually. Kerr was onside. It was a tricky call to make with players running in different directions, but I mean, I'm assuming VAR isn't involved in this friendly match, but that was a good opportunity for Australia. Sayer hits the post. Best chance of the game for the Matildas. Half an hour in. But Sam Kerr was certainly onside there, according to the replays at least. Long shot from Mexico, just sails wide, but it'd be interesting to see the shot stats now, man. It's probably looking pretty even. Half an hour has ticked by in this contest. 0-0 between Australia and Mexico. Thanks for joining us this evening, guys. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying your Saturdays, wherever you're joining us from. Hit the like button to support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat. It's Mexico who are really giving the Matildas a tough test here, and a goal kick coming up for Australia. But look at this press from Mexico. Catley under pressure, caught on the ball. There's going to be another goal kick coming up. Okay, you can see some of the players having some strong words to each other here. Catley! Oh my gosh, the camera has just zoomed in on Catley, who was clearly having some passionate words to some teammates. Steph Catley it was, who was caught on the ball, and you could see Alana Kennedy seemingly, I think she was directing some words to goalkeeper Mackenzie Arnold there. I don't know whether there's maybe some miscommunication going on between the players. Arnold opts to go long here. And Ford just tries to flick it on, but Mexico back on the ball. So the Matildas are having some serious difficulty playing out from the back right now with these goal kicks. John Montemuro, he loves his teams to be on the ball, possession-based football. Playing out from the back is the way that Australia are trying to approach this game. But Mexico, they've clearly done their homework and analysed that this is something that the Tillies do, and Mexico are really making it difficult for us, man. And here come the visitors down the left wing. Carpenter, good defending, and that goal kick coming up. Goal kick. So, with each of these goal kicks, it's feels like anything can happen. Australia have been caught on the ball on a couple of occasions playing out from the back. Worrying. We break out this time around, though. The question is whether Mexico can sustain this sort of pressure on the ball for 90 minutes. Heatley getting pressured. Oh, that's a poor pass from Heatley. Just recovering, though. That did well to recover. Just got the pass miscalculated. Oh, and that's another miscalculated pass too. Van Egmont's just given it away. Bit of scrappiness in midfield. Kennedy hacks it clear. Ford keeps that in. Okay, chance coming up for the Tillies. Ford, good run. Needs support. Kennedy, edge of the box. Not sure what that pass was. It certainly wasn't on for Torpy. There's just been a few instances where the decision-making could maybe just be a little bit better in these sort of key attacking areas for Australia. But overall, there are good signs there. Caitlin Ford, probably Australia's best player in the opening 33 minutes. She's been very involved in this match so far, progressing the ball down that left-hand side with great effect. Fowler's been good too. Van Egmond down the line for Fowler. This is a chance. Corner coming up for Australia, and is this the first corner of the game? It could be after 34 minutes. It certainly feels like the wide areas where we're getting the most joy. Ford and Fowler are probably been Australia's two best players so far this contest. Nice pass by Van Egmond to feed Mary Fowler down the line. But set piece coming up, an opportunity for Australia to claim an advantage on the scoreline. Steph Catley. How often do you see a centre-back taking a corner, folks? Steph Catley, who is playing as our left-sided central defender tonight, is going to deliver this set piece. Delivery's good too. Keeper able to get the punch to it. Sayer was flying into that near post for it, and still on the attack here. No free kick for Mexico. Catley looking for an option. She probably wanted it on her left foot there for that cross. 10 minutes or so to go in the first half in Newcastle. Thanks for joining us for this live watch along, folks. Hope you're all doing well, enjoying your Saturdays. So, Heatley, Carpenter as the Matildas resets at the back here. G'day, Compact. Good to see you here, mate. Says, how's that offside call before? That's right. Victor Till I Die asks, will you try the new World Cup mode on FC26? Possibly for a video. Definitely keen to check it out. Yeah, I heard they released a World Cup mode, so I haven't had a chance to check it out. Yes, I am planning to do a World Cup predictions video, so that should be out in the coming days. So keep an eye on it, mate. Keep an eye on it. Australia, in the last few minutes, have just managed to regain a bit of control in this match. which I think we desperately needed. Because Mexico were on top for a good portion of this first half. But can we find the goal? Interesting to see Caitlin Torpey coming infield on a number of occasions. She's playing at left back tonight. And she's drifting inside just to add another number in the middle of the park. I don't mind it. Even Carpenter now drifting inside. Sayer forward for Carpenter. Fowler on the wing. Mary Fowler taking on her defender. Good sliding challenge, but throw-in coming up. 0-0 after 37 minutes in Newcastle. Tell you what, in regards to that World Cup predictions video, I mean, the group stage itself, there's so many groups that are genuinely difficult to predict. I think I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of upsets at this World Cup. Obviously, the biggest World Cup to date. So many nations involved. Another throw-in coming up for Australia in a good position. It'd be great to get on the score sheet here in this first half, just to have that advantage going into the break. It's always helpful, but especially in this game where Mexico have looked dangerous at times. Feels like we need the goal here just to get our noses ahead. So Kennedy, Van Egmond, pressure on the ball. Australia have to work backwards. Great pressure on the ball, Mexico, man. They're doing well. We're clearly going to need to sort of step up the game a little bit here, I think, just to sort of, if we're going to come away with a win from this game, if we're going to score some goals. It feels like we do have another gear to go to, though, that's for sure. We just haven't hit it yet. We haven't found it. Sayer coming out to the right. This is that's the second time that sort of set plays happen for Australia, where like Carpenter, that's the fullbacks coming inside, and like on that occasion it was like Carpenter was coming inside from the right back position into midfield, and Sayer was drifting out wide, and then that sort of opened up a channel for Mary Fowler on the right wing. I don't mind it. I mean, Joe Montemurro trying different things, seemingly, to try and create some more chances here for Australia. Here's a bit of space now. Kennedy. Dude, Torpey was away there through the middle. Ford. Driving inside. Good challenge. Again, another good example of Mexico, just that last line of defense stepping in with a crucial intervention. Very well done. Winning the ball at the park, Van Egmond. But again, Mexico, man, they're clearly up for this contest, and they're away down the right. Here's a chance for them. Kennedy having to track back. Good challenge from Kennedy, brilliant. Alana Kennedy. She's had a pretty busy game in that defensive midfield role so far in this contest, and that was a signature sliding tackle from the defender / midfielder these days, Alana Kennedy, seemingly the first choice defensive midfielder for Australia. And it's great. I think it's awesome that she's sort of really flourished in that role. She obviously had a fantastic Asian Cup, scoring numerous goals from defensive midfield. Superb player, Alana Kennedy. But obviously, Matildas fans are accustomed to seeing Kennedy play as a central defender, but I mean, it's great that, Kennedy's flourishing in centre defensive mid, and it's, Winona Heatley has sort of stepped up as one of those other centre backs as well, hey? Manuel says Harps is pretty silent during the broadcast, which is concerning. Love Andy Harper. Victory Till I Die with the Socceroos question here asks, how do you reckon the Socceroos will fit in both Volpato and Irankunda, considering both being right-sided attackers? I know Irankunda can probably do it off the left. Yeah, look, tomorrow's going to be interesting because a lot of people, myself included, probably keen to see Irankunda and Volpato start, and that's that would be so exciting to see because you've got two top players, top attacking players there. And that's how it would work, I guess. Hey, you got Volpato, left-footed player, to play on the right, can cut in on his left, and Nkunda can cut in on his right, off that left side. But yeah, it just seems like that Popovic wants to go for a bit more of a conservative approach, a slightly more defensive approach here. Chance for Mexico, good save, Arnold. Was the offside flag up? I don't think so. Was it? But yeah, with the Socceroos, it'd be great to see them both start Volpato and Irankunda, but I've got a feeling that Metcalf has been starting so many games as one of those number 10. So, look, I think there's a good chance that Volpato starts against Switzerland tomorrow. I really do think so. And hopefully we do see Nestori get some more minutes, that's for sure. More minutes than he got against Mexico. Okay, corner coming up for Mexico. Good chance for them here late on in the half. Delivery's all right. It was headed on. It was kept alive at the near post, and Heatley eventually got it clear. But it's coming in again. Good delivery. Ford is there defending. Shaky clearances from the Matildas. Mexico sent it in again. This time the delivery goes out for a goal kick, but I'm very curious to see what Joe Montemuro does at half time, whether he makes any changes. I don't think he'll necessarily make any personnel changes, but maybe tactically something needs to change for Australia. I think Mexico will be pretty pleased with this first half. From their point of view, they've defended pretty well overall, and yeah. Valhoon says Mexico shirt is pretty mint. It's cool, eh? It's a nice kit. It's awesome. Kerr for Ford. Here's a chance for Australia. Sam Kerr trying to get herself involved in this game. There's been pretty big chunks of this first half where Sam Kerr hasn't featured on the ball much. Trying to get involved now. That's a good pass. Here's a chance. Carpenter down the right. It's a great chance. Oh, my goodness. Maybe a foul. Here's Torpy. Shot goes wide. Well, huge opportunity for the Matildas there. Really great passage of play down the right. Van Egmond with the 1-2 with Carpenter. Brilliant play. And Ford just let it run. Oh, dude. Caitlin Ford, who was in the middle, letting it run, thinking that there was a teammate just behind her, but it was Sam Kerr who was just at that far post. Wasn't there to connect with the ball. Torpy's shot in the end wide. So, it remains 0-0. That's right, Manuel, who says the Matildas are giving the ball back too easily. Absolutely. That's one area where we go to where we need to improve in. What time will the Socceroos Switzerland be on for you? On the east coast of Australia here, 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it's an early start. Is Australia on the ball high at the park? Half time. No injury time to be played in the first half of this friendly match in Newcastle. It is Australia 1. Sorry, no. Oh my gosh, I wish it was 1. Excuse me, Australia 0, Mexico 0. What do you make of that first half, folks? It was a very fascinating one indeed because the Matildas started very brightly. Some good opportunities. And then Mexico, all of a sudden, completely flipped things around, hey? And there was sort of the middle third, if you like, of that first half was pretty well dominated there by Mexico. And were making it really difficult for Australia to break out from the back. And they had some great opportunities to score first, Mexico. But those last sort of 10, 15 minutes, we did well to sort of regain a bit of control. And some good opportunities there. Amy Sayer hitting the post, definitely the best chance of the first half there for Australia. Great little play at the end of that first half as well, where Caitlin Ford almost had a moment in the middle of the box. 5 a.m. freezing cold. That's right. Yeah, it'll be a chilly one. The winter has arrived in Australia, so it will be a cold one at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's for sure. Victor Till I Die asks, who do you reckon will be a dark horse in the Socceroos squad for the World Cup? As in, like, a player who we're not expecting to necessarily be a star player, but may well have a big impact. Good question. Because I think we all know who Australia's like star players are. You know, you're sort of looking at Nestor Irankunda, Geordie Boss, Christian Volpato, I think, Mo Toure. Who's Australian dark horse in the group? Maybe a player who we're not expecting to. Tell you what. I mean, from a defensive point of view, I'm going to say Lucas Harrington. I mean, I think he's set for a great tournament. I just think with the form that he's in, and he's just like, he's playing with such maturity, and he's only played 3 games for the Socceroos, right? But since he's come in, since he's been called up, he's played every game. You know, he played 100%, started 100% of games so far. That is just 3 games. But yeah, I reckon Harrington is going to have a real big tournament. And look, if Australia have a good tournament and Harrington's starting games, then I wouldn't be surprised if Lucas Harrington is signed by a big club. He's playing regularly in the MLS at the moment with Colorado Rapids, but considering that he's just 18, and if he's starting at a World Cup and he's 18 and playing well, there's no doubt he's going to be attracting some interest from some of the world's biggest clubs. And that's what excites me as well. Like, hopefully Australia obviously have a good run at this tournament. But a good run at this tournament, I think, would also mean that a number of players could be set for exciting moves. Lucas Harrington, I think Geordie Boss, again, I've said it for the past year or so now, Geordie Boss is Australia's best player and will be playing at a real sort of, I think, a big club in world football very, very soon, in my opinion. Nestor Irankunda, you know, if he's scoring some goals at the World Cup, he could get a big move. Mo Toure is at Norwich City at the moment, and only just arrived there in January. But if Mo Toure could score some goals at this World Cup, he's still very young. So I'm really excited, to see. Really excited this sort of this young contingent of players that the Socceroos have. Really hoping that they deliver this tournament. That's for sure. So it's a busy time for Australian football fans, even with the A-League seasons wrapping up in recent weeks. All the focus now is on international football. The Chile's in action at the moment with his 2 friendly games against Mexico. And of course, the World Cup getting underway next week in North America. Victor Chiladiah says, Harrington is unreal, especially considering his age. Victor Chiladiah also mentioning Connor Metcalf, Aiden Roostich, Matthew Leckie. Yeah, look, I know, like, just on Matthew Leckie in particular, like, I've seen a lot of comments, sort of people questioning whether he should be in the squad. I'm really happy with him being in there, because it's great having those experienced players who's been at numerous World Cups. You know, it's great to have Matt Leckie, even just in the changing room, to provide some support and guidance to some of the younger players. So I'm happy that he's there. Considering that we have a very, very young squad, we need those experienced players, and it's great that we have some experience now in Leckie and Matty Ryan, of course, the captain as well. Half time between Australia and Mexico here in this friendly game. I'll be curious to see whether we do see any substitutions at the break. Joe Montemuro, I'm sure he would have learnt a lot from that first period. And in the second half, we're clearly going to need to see a little bit more improvement. It hasn't been bad. It hasn't been a bad performance for Australia, but could be better. That's for sure. Interesting question. Victory Till I Die asks, what former legend do you reckon might have a chance to join the A-League this transfer window? I mean, who's a free agent at the moment? Who's a free agent? Let me know in the live chat. Who would you like to see? Manuel says the Socceroos playing in America will be a slight advantage than a lot of European teams still playing their practice games in Europe. I have noticed that. Yeah, I've obviously been keeping an eye on some of the results of some of the games involving other teams in Europe, and yeah, they've obviously been playing some of their games still in their home nations. And the Socceroos, I mean, obviously the pre-World Cup camp has been going on for weeks now, isn't it? Yeah. Victor Till I Die also mentioning that Lecky can also play as a deep-lying midfielder / playmaker or on either wing. Yeah, he's a versatile player. These days, for Melbourne City, when he is injury-free, he is playing as more of a deeper lying midfielder. So that's my expectation of where Lecky could play. He played as one of the number 10s for the Socceroos last week, which was a bit of a surprise for me. Yeah. So, stats at half-time in this game. 65% possession to Australia, just 35 for Mexico. 5 shots for each team. Australia have not managed to find the target yet with one of their shots. 2 shots on target for Mexico. So, that sort of paints the picture a little bit. Mexico have created a couple of good opportunities. And Australia, while there has been some good moments in attack going forward, we're just lacking a little bit of quality there. What do you use a template for Canva? We are using Canva for this lineup graphic. No, this is not a template. This is I made this myself. So yeah, just put it together on Canva. Going back to those, what former legend do you reckon could join the A-League? Victor Till I Die mentions Sergio Ramos and Philippe Coutinho. That would be great. That'd be awesome. And look, it's probably like with Juan Mata joining, and it's great to see that Juan Mata had a great season last season. And he's one of the biggest players to ever play in the A-League. At this rate, I could see anyone joining. I could see one of those names coming to the A-League. Why not? Why not? And especially, with Juan Mata, Juan Mata's obviously played with Sergio Ramos, two Spanish players there. So who knows? Maybe Juan Mata could give a call to Sergio Ramos and get him over in the A-League. That'd be something. And when it comes to those big names coming over to the A-League, you're always looking at those big A-League clubs. Whether it is Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City, Sydney FC. Even Western Sydney Wanderers, even Perth Glory. We know Perth Glory signed Daniel Sturridge a few years back. Perth Glory have just re-signed Tom Lawrence, and he's a top player. He was playing at a really good level. He was playing over at Rangers at Scotland. He was playing in the English Championship. Featured for the Wales national team as well. Tom Lawrence, he's re-signed recently at Perth Glory, which I think is a good move for Perth, because I think he's capable of being a real top player in this competition. So yeah, we've obviously seen some moves early on in this A-League transfer window as well. Just a few signings sort of popping up here and there. And some big sort of rumours floating around as well, involving some big name players. Obviously, Joe Lolly's this past week departed Sydney FC. That's sort of one of the big stories of the past week. And there's been some reports in the media of some links to some A-League rivals. We'll see what happens there. That'll be a big story this off-season, I'm sure, where Joe Lolly ends up, whether he is playing at another A-League club. It will be interesting. I wonder what happened there. I wonder whether, we don't know whether Sydney FC were keen to keep him around or, with Joe Lolly. Because, look, he's a top player. He's capable of being the A-League's best player. And I think since he's arrived in Australia, he has been one of the top wingers in the competition, Joe Lolly. Mr. Pro's in the live chat as well. G'day, Mr. Pro. Welcome, mate. Victor Until I Die says, might be going to Fed Square to watch Australia versus Turkey Sunday week. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a massive, massive turnout. Yeah, as we know, there was phenomenal scenes at Fed Square for the last World Cup. And I'm sure for every Socceroos game, it's going to be packed out, Fed Square. I was there actually. Funny enough, I was in Fed Square while I was on a trip to Melbourne a few weeks ago, and it was my first time actually checking out Fed Square. I was around. I was in the area, so it was my first time seeing it, and I didn't realize sort of like how big it was. I didn't realize sort of what the area was actually like until actually being there in person. And yeah, I mean, when I was there, it was like a rainy day and there was like no one around, but I can imagine what it would be like, I imagine they can get thousands of people there in Fed Square. Hey, it's a big area. Random stuff in the live chat says it's hard to pick out a legend that would stand out these days because most players these days are athletes before ballers, says random stuff. Manuel also says, I feel they need a victory against Turkey, the Socceroos, because America and Paraguay, it's their time zones. That's true. That's true. Obviously, USA on home soil and Paraguay, they'd be in the same time zone, wouldn't they? Yeah. Or roughly the same time zone, being from South America. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the first game against Turkey is going to be very interesting. And very curious to see what the result is in that other Group D game, USA and Paraguay. How does that game pan out? It'll be very, very interesting. It really does feel like the Socceroos group at the World Cup is quite even. I do believe that. It is quite even. It feels like it could really end in any order. Honestly, I do believe that. I do think USA are going to be in the top two. I think they will. I think with the home advantage, that's going to probably play a big factor. But honestly, like again, I'm really optimistic that the Socceroos could finish in the top two in this group. I think we have the potential to do it. We know Turkey have some top players. Paraguay are a good team as well. They're defensively really solid. There's no like obvious, it's going to be really hard to predict every game in Group D because, it's so, yeah, it's all teams feel like they could sort of beat each other on their day. So, yeah. But that's sort of the scary thing that, well, it's exciting and it's scary because for the Socceroos, it's like, if we play to our potential, we could finish in the top two in this group. But at the same time, it feels pretty evenly matched, and Socceroos could easily finish bottom. And yeah, I'm expecting that I'm expecting every game in Group D to be really tightly contested. For there to be just a goal in it really. If there's going to be a win, there may well be a lot of draws. There may well be. Manuel says Socceroos need 5 points. Victory till I die. Speaking about, of course, your favourite club in Melbourne Victory, says Melbourne Victory might have to have a massive rebuild this transfer window, considering they probably have one of the older squads in the league in terms of average age. There are a lot of old players, older I should say, players in their squad. Yeah, curious to see what Victory do, and obviously going to have a new head coach next season, aren't they? With Arthur Dillis parting ways with Victory. So curious to see what they do, hey? Victory Till I Die also mentions might have to think about getting rid of the likes of Brendan Hamill, Jason Davidson, maybe Roderick Miranda in a season or two. Obviously, there's a chance that Mata leaves as well. Yeah, that's the big question also, one Mata. I mean, if you're a Victory fan, you're obviously wanting him to stay, right? He was so good last season. Yeah, I mean, I could see Davidson and Miranda still sticking around for another couple of years. I think they could provide a lot. Oh, Brandon Hamill, I mean, he's only just recently returned from a long injury layoff. Hey, the second half is about to get underway, folks, between Australia and Mexico. This friendly game is being played in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat. I just appreciate you guys being here. And here on the channel, we're all about just creating a community for Australian football fans. And it's an exciting time to be an Australian football fan. It is the A-League's off season, but Matildas are in action. We've got the Socceroos. We will be live tomorrow for the Socceroos game against Switzerland. And obviously the World Cup gets underway for the Socceroos next week. The second half is underway, ladies and gentlemen. Our clock is a ticking. Here we go. What will Australia show us in the second half? Really intriguing first half, man. Mexico were really up for it and matched Australia really well and applied the pressure. So, let's see if we notice anything different in the approach to, like tactically, the approach in the second half. Mexico have sprung forward here. Cataly able to get it clear. There were a few appeals for offside. Doesn't look like we've had any substitutions at halftime. It's the same lineup as the first half. Caitlin Ford dispossessed, asking for a foul perhaps, but Mexico are on the attack. Here's a great chance. Great ball. Oh my goodness. Well, flag is up. Offside flag is up in the end. But Mexico were in a flash, were in behind and forcing a save out of Mackenzie Arnold. Offside call was the correct one in the end. Looking at the replays. Alrighty. Victor Teledai talking about that Socceroos World Cup group says, I think this could be named the Group of Life because all four teams are very balanced in terms of quality. Tell you what, there's a few groups like that. Group A is like that. Group A has Mexico, Czech Republic, South Africa, and South Korea. And that feels like it could be a pretty even group as well. There's a few groups that feel pretty even. Here's a chance. Kerr's made a run in behind. Sam Kerr has to go back to Ford, who sends it in. Headed away by Mexico, who are, again, defending very admirably in this game. Some more comments. Sorry, just reading some of your messages from a moment ago. Manuel says, I'm not sold on the American team. Yeah, there's obviously they've got a lot of pressure to perform in this World Cup, obviously being one of the hosts. Interesting comment from Random Stuff, who says, be interesting to see how the World Cup ball moves through the air, especially if some of the Mexico games are at high altitude. Does that actually, I mean, I'm no scientist. I was not interested in science at school, but does that actually affect the ball movement? Is that a thing where the high altitude would affect the movement of the ball? That's interesting. Manuel also mentions that Paraguay will build a wall and counterattack for a 1-0 result. Very solid defense. Yes, that is what I've heard from this Paraguay side, a strong side defensively. So they could be a tricky side to break down at the back, that's for sure. All the games are going to be difficult for Australia at this World Cup. Okay, Matildas looking to make a push down the right side through Fowler. Bit of space in the middle. Van Egmond has it. Torpy's there, comes out to Ford. Cross comes in towards Kerr, the header. That was a good opportunity, and that's Australia's first shot on target. In the end, it was a comfortable save for Mexico's goalkeeper, but Sam Kerr, who hasn't had too many opportunities in this match, did well to get herself to that ball first, and did well I'll tell you what, I mean, she was trying to direct that ball towards the far post. Smart header there from Sam Kerr. But that is indeed Australia's first shot on target, and it's arrived in the second half. And the Matildas win the ball high up the park here. Fowler on the ball, edge of the box. Can we get another shot away here? Sam Kerr looking for Fowler again. Sayer. Just a little bit scrappy for the Matildas. Not very convincing going forward. It's bouncing around and Mexico are back on the ball. Victory Till I Die says it'd be funny to compare a 2022 Australian World Cup squad versus 2026 and see which names are still on the horizon. Yeah, it was funny actually in our live. I think in our live stream that we did during the week, reacting to the Socceroos squad, we actually talked about like comparing the two squads and like which World Cup squad is stronger for the Socceroos, 2022 or 2026. And I think we were all sort of in agreement that it probably is 2026. Nothing against the 2022 squad, quality squad there as well, but yeah, I'm really excited about our squad this year, man. It's an exciting team with some talented young players. Catley, nice forward ball for Van Egmond, just ahead of her though. Okay. Mexico still making it difficult for Australia in this game so far. G'day, Frenzied Rabbit. On that high altitude, here we go. Frenzied Rabbit says, let's come back to that because the Matildas are in here with a chance. Fowler in the box. Keeping it alive. Getting some great comments in the live chat. We'll jump to them in just a moment. But Fowler's swinging a ball in. Van Egmond into the box. Shot blocked. Matildas have made a bright start to this second half, as they made a bright start to the first half as well. But Mexico still staying strong defensively. So, Frenzy Rabbit said high altitude impacts the players due to low oxygen in the air. Says that people can acclimate if they are at high altitudes for long times. But if you aren't used to it, you can run out of breath easily. There you go. That could be a big factor in a number of games, eh? Random stuff highlighting, yeah, dude, that draw from Graham Arnold's Iraq side against Spain. It was an incredible goal, wasn't it? Too in that game from Iraq, an incredible strike to level it up there, and that's a big result for Graham Arnold and Iraq against one of the favourites for this tournament in Spain. To draw 1-1 with them, that's huge. Victor Till I Die mentioning I've got a family friend currently playing for the Australian Under-19 team in the ASEAN Championship in Indonesia right now. Won their first game against the Philippines 10-0 the other day. Yeah, I did see that. Was it Medan Mehmeti who scored a handful of goals in that game, didn't he? Yeah, got a number of exciting players playing in the A-League in that squad for that tournament, which is good to see that they've made a great start to that competition. There's a really exciting contingent of young players coming through in those age groups. Fantastic attendance in Newcastle for this game, as it usually is, anywhere in Australia for Matildas games. Very high crowd number, as always. We haven't had the official number popped up yet, but you'd imagine it could well be over 20,000. Manuel says, should have been 1-0 for Mexico. Very lucky Matildas. As they get it in behind here. Emmanuel, your stream may well just be a few seconds ahead of mine because Mexico are in, and that is a phenomenal opportunity. Oh my goodness. Easily could have scored there. The shot just going wide. What a miss as Victory Till I Die. Manuel's a few seconds in the future. Great opportunity. The ball over the top and great running behind. The finish was just missing. But, oh my gosh, they did well to get the ball away from Catley. Catley was trying to get to that ball first. Oh my goodness, that is a disappointing miss from Mexico's point of view, obviously. What a chance for them. Best chance of the game for Mexico. In behind, 1-on-1 with Arnold. That's all right. I don't think we're too far off with with the broadcast. Obviously, with the YouTube live streams, there's always going to be a slight delay. But we've got our clock ticking away here, as you can see on the graphic. 54 minutes and 40 seconds into the contest now. And if you want, you can sync up the game that you're watching with our live watch along here. Valhoon mentions that Matilda's lacking quality in the midfield. Yeah, look, every time we are breaking into the midfield, that's where the pressure really is being applied by Mexico. We're not being allowed too much time in that area of the field. Van Egmond. Let's see what we can do here. Carpenter down the right. Trying to get something going here for Australia. Amy Sayer's been starting to pop up in some wider areas, getting a bit more advanced in the second half. Fowler, here's a chance. Blocked again. There's been a lot of blocked shots. Mexico have been doing really well of getting themselves in front of these efforts towards goal. Caitlin Ford now on the left. That's a good tackle by Mexico. And the Matildas won the throw there. This is proving a really difficult test for Australia for 55 minutes. Australia are struggling to create free-flowing chances. And again, like, Kerr had the ball in the box there, just unable to link up with Van Egmond. It's in the final third, we're just missing the passes, aren't we? Oliver Dragicevic, yes, I do recognise the name. Melbourne Victory player, isn't he? Caitlin Ford. Trying to break down the left. Again, just trying to force it a bit here. It's happened on a number of occasions this game. Ford wins the free kick. Mexico aren't happy with the call. But there's been a few occasions where we're just trying to like force it. Just like trying to grind through what is a very stubborn defence here. And on this occasion, Caitlin Ford using her experience to draw the foul. Free kick coming up from the Matildas. It's been a positive start to the second half. Great chance for Mexico a few moments ago. And the scores remain scoreless. Mexico have been very good defensively this game. This has been ultra impressive. And I'll tell you what, I don't mind that we're getting to play them again in a few days' time in Sydney, Tuesday night. And I'm sure Joe Montemuro may well make some tweaks for that game too. Perhaps in personnel. So Van Egmonds is standing over this one. Swinging it in, close to the keeper. It's a header that goes away, and that's a corner coming up. No, it's a goal kick. What? Referee, I think, is going to overrule this, surely. That's a corner for sure. So it is a corner. The linesman waved for a goal kick. I mean, that was quite clearly a corner. Anyway, good defensive work there from Mexico once again. Fowler is the player that can break the deadlock. I agree. Got to get her on the ball a bit more. So Catley, again, I've said it before. How often do you see a centre-back taking a corner? Steph Catley, left-footed delivery. If I'm not mistaken, one of two left-footed players, I think, in this starting lineup as Kerr's header towards goal, but just not the required power on it to get past the goalkeeper. You just wonder now, as we approach the hour mark of this game, whether Joe Montemuro may well get some fresh legs on the field. Get some substitutes involved into this game just to try and change things up a bit. Kerr with some space down the right now. Here's a chance. Goes for the early cross. Mexico with defenders in the road. But it's a throw-in on the way. So, again, so far in this second half, the Aussies have mainly been on top, and Hayley Rasso is going to enter the field of play here as the first substitution. And interestingly enough, it is Amy Sayer coming off. So that's an attacking change. That's an ambitious change from Joe Montemuro. We'll keep an eye on how exactly Australia set up here. Rasso, you would imagine, would be shifted over to that right wing, and Mary Fowler will probably come into a central role. That may well shift Emily Van Egmond a little bit deeper into midfield. Amy Sayant working hard in this game, but unable to really show her best football, I think. Rasso with her first touch, with an effort that just sailed wide. Hayley Rasso coming off the bench. First change for Australia. I don't mind it. Mary Fowler more than capable of playing in a more central position as an attacking midfielder. I do view that as quite an attacking change, though, from Joe Montemuro. Welcome to the live chat, Jessica. Says finally Hayley Rasso. Victor Till I Die. Have you ever met any famous footballers, or any in general? I mean, it depends what you define as famous, mate. I mean, I've met a lot of footballers, but I've met a lot of A-League footballers. Yeah. I don't think I've never met any any sort of big international names though. But yeah, at the Mariners, I've definitely met a number of players over the years. I mean, I've met a number of players who have played with the Socceroos. So I don't know whether you consider them famous, hey? Of course they're famous. We should consider them famous. The Socceroos. Which A-League footballers? Just a couple names. From a few years ago, like Jason Cummings, Garen Kowal, who else? Max Ballard, Josh Nisbet. Yeah, for those that don't know, I am a Central Coast Mariners fan. I've got a Mariners dedicated channel, Coast Watch Football, if you want to check it out. Manuel says it's not a performance. You go quarterfinals, barely round of 16, and that's a successful result for the next year's World Cup. That is, says Manuel. Yeah, I mean, like there's a chance that we're coming up against a team like Mexico at the World Cup next year, and we're going to need to be better at the World Cup next year if we're going to get through. You're right. Kennedy with a shot, edge of the box, blocked again. Rasso now, good chance. Kerr flicks it on. Nice effort there, but the goalkeeper was aware of the trickery there from Sam Kerr. But the little back heel, it was a nice little flick, wasn't it? Garen Kowal, that's right, yeah. Nice flick from Sam Kerr. Hayley Rasso trying to get involved in this game as well, having an impact off the bench. So, Australia have made one change so far, with Hayley Rasso coming on. We've got a number of players on the bench, some players who are a little bit less experienced at Matildas level, but some exciting players who could come on. I mean, some attacking players that we could look at. Holly McNamara, Remy Simpson's there. We could also, in midfield, Izzy Gomez, Letitia McKenna, Alex Chidiac. You know, a variety of options that Joe Montemuro could rely on here. Caitlin Ford taking on a defender. Bringing Kennedy into the game, crossing it in, and Mexico. Look at the number of players that Mexico have in the box right now, man. There's like 8 players in the box for Mexico. It's just, with the number of players they have in the box, they're just getting to these balls first, hey? Oh boy. Random Stuff asks, do you think, I assume you mean McBreen there, Daniel McBreen? Do you think he's a Mariners fan or a Jet? I think his heart will always be in you, he says Random Stuff. Hey, I'd like to think that he's a Mariners fan. Obviously, he will be forever remembered by Mariners fans for scoring in the 2013 Grand Final against the Wanderers. Hayley Rasso with an effort just wide. Well, the chances are really starting to flow for the Matildas, and Rasso wasn't too far off there. Another good chance for Australia. Good play. Fowler involved, the give and go, Sam Kerr, and then Rasso on the overlap. Interesting question from Victor Till I Die. Which watch-alongs have you done that were most memorable? There's one that definitely comes to mind. It is the Socceroos playoff match with Peru back in 2020. When was that? 2022, of course. Yeah, we'll be doing watch-alongs here on the channel for, what is it now, 2026? We probably did our first one in 2021 or 2022, like around that time. So we've been doing live watch-alongs here for about 5 years. So there's been a lot of memorable ones, but that playoff game between Australia and Peru is obviously a highlight. That penalty shootout, the heroics from Andrew Redmayne. Jessica also mentioned a moment ago, we are getting so close to scoring a goal. We're getting closer and closer. It's coming. Did we have another substitution just a moment ago? I swear I saw someone just come off. Let me know in the live chat. Did we just make a sub? Well, wow, the shots at goal stats just being showed on the broadcast. Australia have had 16 shots. Mexico just 6 shots so far. 3 on target now for Australia. So the chances are continuing to flow. You did one for the Japan game. I wasn't live for the Japan game. I assume you're talking about the one last year with the Socceroos and Japan, the qualifier. Wasn't live for that one. I do remember watching that though, and obviously that was a big one for the Socceroos. Or you could be referring to the Asian Cup final between the Matildas and Japan. Wasn't live for that one. And obviously a very frustrating result in the end for Australia. Manuel says they're all trying to place the ball in the net instead of blasting it. Yeah, there's been a few efforts on goal that have been pretty comfortable. Like, Mexico's goalkeeper hasn't been tested all that much. Like, she's had to make a few saves, but all the saves have been, like, pretty comfortable. The shots, there's been no real sort of, like, high power shots, yeah. Did Charlie Rule come on? She did. Okay, so we did make a change. Mexico coming forward, though. Here's a chance for them. Great opportunity. There is Charlie Rule. Able to make the block. It really feels like this game could end in any result. I mean, Mexico, when they get forward, like this half, they haven't had as many opportunities. They've had a couple good ones. But I'll tell you what, there's every time they do get forward, Mexico, they do look dangerous. They look like scoring. So here's what the lineup, the formation is looking like at the moment for the Matildas. There was a change a moment ago. Steph Catley coming off for Charlie Rule in those centre-back roles. So Winona Heatley playing as that left-sided centre-back now. As Carpenter's coming forward. Good opportunity. Good challenge. Mexico at the back once again. Sliding tackle on Carpenter. Well, she can't believe... Is this not a corner? Carpenter can't believe... Look at Ellie Carpenter on the broadcast. She cannot believe it. She is in dismay. Let's look at these replays. That's a certain corner, isn't it? Clear slide. Dude, Mexico's defender was walking back to get ready to defend that corner. I mean, that alone should signify to you that that was a corner. Mexico's defender was walking back towards her own goal, assuming it was a corner, clearly. And the referee called a goal kick, and it was quite clearly a corner. I'm not sure how that could have been called a goal kick. Anyway. Very strange. Jessica says Carpenter is a real good player. She's a fantastic player and has been for many years now for the Matildas. This is a 100th appearance tonight for Australia. She's had a fantastic career for the Matildas so far. And is wearing the captain's armband tonight, Ellie Carpenter. We probably would usually see Sam Kerr wearing the captain's armband. Or we've also seen Steph Catley wear the armband as well. But Carpenter wearing it tonight in honour of her 100th appearance for Australia. Still remains scoreless in the 70th minute of this contest. Caitlin forward with some space down the left. This is a good chance, dude. This is a good chance. Forward for Kerr. Can she get around the defence? Too many players in the road. Fowler in the box. Goalkeeper ends up with it again, dude. We're just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the head coach of this team. I'd be scratching my head if I was. Because we're looking all right. We're getting forward well. There's some good moments, but we're just not. We should be having more shots on target. The shots on target stats should be a lot higher because we're getting into good areas. We're just not creating those. We're not actually looking that dangerous in front of actual goal. You know what I mean? Not testing Mexico's goalkeeper, as we said earlier. Oh boy. Random stuff a moment ago says, I think the England versus New Zealand friendly will be interesting. It will give a big understanding where the A-League is at. That'll be an interesting game for sure. Victory Till I Die also said, I don't know if you remember the game, Victory versus Mexico's Mariners 21-22. Veluple scored in the last minute, and I remember watching and you being speechless, and you changed the score with your head in your hands. That sounds familiar. Yeah. Yes, that does sound familiar. That does sound familiar. Mariners and Victory have played some big games over the years. Obviously, the 2024 Grand Final, the 2021 Australia Cup Final as well. And yeah, that rings a bell. That was in the regular season, wasn't it? Of course. Yes. Nishan Veluple. And of course, Nishan Veluple will be amongst the Socceroos World Cup squad this year. Mexico playing out from the back at the moment. And Australia, 2 changes made. Will we see more? Will we see more? Surely. But will we see them sooner than later? There's been some really sort of like good. The effort overall has been there from Australia. I think we're just lacking the quality a bit in the final third, unfortunately. Some of the decision making, it feels like, is just letting us down. So hopefully we can improve in that department for the remainder of this contest. That's right, Jessica. I mean, just keep it simple, right? Jessica said, just kick the ball in the goal. That's all we need. That's all we're missing. Rasso, here's a chance once more. Australia driving forward. Rasso, good ball, just ahead of Kerr. And out for a throw. And as Manuel says as well, says lots of fancy footwork, but no actual lethal shots on target. That's right. That sums it up well as well, Manuel, who says the final third is a lot of huff and puff and smoke, but no fire. It is like we're getting into good areas, and there's like, we're getting excited on numerous occasions because there's got some really good players driving forward, and Ford has been really good driving down that left. Fowler's been finding some good pockets of space. Van Egmond and getting involved, but we're just unable to find that shot at goal to test the goalkeeper. We've had, I think, over 16 shots now, but only a few of those have been on target. Appreciate you guys joining us for this live watch along tonight, man. It's the first of 2 friendlies against Mexico. We'll be taking on Mexico on Tuesday next week as well in Sydney. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. You can also consider sending in a super chat to support the channel here. Victory Till I Die says another memorable watch along for me was the Victory versus Jets Australia Cup playoff match, I believe. And the Jets were up 2-0, 89th minute. A Victory scored 2 in the last 5 minutes to take it to penalties, which they lost. That sounds familiar as well. Yes, that does sound familiar. That would have been a few years back. Obviously, a big change to the Australia Cup this year is there will be no playoffs for the A-League. No playoffs. There's been a couple of big changes for the Australia Cup this year for the A-League teams. No playoffs for those bottom 4 A-League teams. So all the A-League teams are in it, except no New Zealand teams in the Australia Cup. Wellington Phoenix, Auckland FC, not in the Australia Cup. What do you guys make of that call? I kind of agree with it. I don't know. I mean, I tell you what, it is interesting because it sort of changes their preseason a little bit, Auckland and Wellington. I wonder what they're going to do for their preseason to get some competitive football in there, because that's one of the cool things about the Australia Cup is that it provides some competitive minutes for A-League teams. And now Wellington and Auckland aren't going to have that. Interesting. We will be live tomorrow morning, folks, for the Socceroos game against Switzerland. Join us for that one. Early kickoff on the east coast of Australia, 5 a.m. Stay warm. Grab your cup of tea. Grab your coffee. Stay warm. Grab your dressing gown, your jumper, your hoodie, your Ugg boots. We will be live for Socceroos Switzerland in, not too many hours. Hey, like what, 9 hours? Am I right? 9 hours? Something like that. Maths. We are running out of time here. There's 15 minutes to go in this game. Australia 0, Mexico 0. At the moment, just taking the patient approach, playing it around at the back. We've made 2 substitutions so far. Hopefully we see a few more in the coming moments. Rasso looking to get past her defender. That's good defending. That's a goal kick. If this ends 0-0, it's going to be a disappointing evening for Australia. Mexico have been very good. But again, I'll be looking forward even more so to Game 2 in Sydney because, yeah, man, this has been very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Mexico, to be fair, haven't had many opportunities in the second half. Fowler with a shot from range. We were wanting a shot with a bit of power behind it, and I think we finally got it. That was like probably the most powerful shot on target of the game so far. Mary Fowler, edge of the box, but straight at the goalkeeper. It's an interesting one. Victory Toladai asking, what do you think of Heidelberg not qualifying for the ACL2? I would have loved to have seen them qualify. It would have been cool to have seen a club from outside the A-League play in the Asian Champions League too. That would have been awesome. But they obviously haven't been able to meet to satisfy the necessary requirements, and it is what it is. And what that position now goes to Melbourne Victory, doesn't it? So, will we ever see a non-A-League team qualify for the Asian Champions League too? I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Manuel says we need a bit of Lisa Devanna in the final third. Matildas legend Lisa Devanna. Great shout, Manuel. Victory says we'll definitely tune in for the stream tomorrow morning. Yeah. Is everyone getting up for the Socceroos game tomorrow? It is a friendly game, but obviously it's a big friendly game. Probably one of the biggest friendly games of the Socceroos' recent history. Taking on Switzerland 1 week out from the World Cup. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be a highly anticipated friendly match. Victory Till I Die mentions, Lockie, I would love to see you try out Football Manager for a video, maybe for a Central Coast Mariners save. I'll have to try football. I've still never played Football Manager, but people keep telling me to play it. Yeah, man. I might have to give it a go because I keep getting recommended it. I just haven't had the chance to give it a try. But that's probably what I would do if I was to play Football Manager. The team I'd do is probably my team, Central Coast Mariners. Manuel says for Mexico to have a successful World Cup would be to make round of 16. That's all. They're ranked 27th, I think. Indeed, yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be probably a decent run for them. Victor Teladai says we'll have to go to bed soon though, especially considering I went to the AFL last night, didn't get home till about 11:50. Yeah, it's gonna be a between this live watch log and then we're gonna have to get some sleep and then up early in the morning for the Socceroos game. So it's a busy weekend for Australian football fans. That's for sure. Mexico with a chance to break forward. Good ball, huge chance. Oh my goodness, was that onside? What an opportunity for Mexico. The ball in behind. and unable to get the shot on target. But another good example of Mexico just showing how easy it is to slide past Australia's defence. What time will the stream start? We'll probably just start just before kickoff, around 5 a.m. It is Australian Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, it'll be pretty chilly in the morning as winter has arrived in Australia. So down the right-hand side here, the Matildas are driving through Haley Rasso. It's a good block by Mexico. I think if you're a Mexico fan, you're probably pretty pleased with this performance overall. Defensively, shutting down Australia so well. Caitlin Ford's on the ball on the left. Good position. Good run from Ford. Sending it in, but the cross is blocked. How many times have we said that during this live stream, folks? Getting into a good area of the field. Playing in a pass, playing in a cross, and it is blocked. Mexico are just getting in the way. But at the same time, like while Mexico are defending well, we're just lacking a little bit of creativity in the final third. It's at times been a little bit too predictable, I think, from Australia. Ford, again, just a cheap giveaway in that final third. It's costing us, dude. I mean, it may well cost us if Mexico score here late on in this contest. But it's quite obvious, I think, for all of us to see that we need improvements in the final third. The concern is as well is that we've got a pretty strong, attacking lineup here. Kerr, Ford, Fowler, Rasso on the field now. I mean, Van Egmont's still on the field, of course, in midfield. I mean, this is a real sort of full strength Matilda setup, just about, and we're struggling to find this goal. Mexico are on the attack once more now. Could they snatch it late on here? Mexico, some space from the midfield areas. Caitlin Torpey having to do some defending here. Oh boy. Ben says 5 a.m. is easy. Why am I excited to watch Popper Ball? It doesn't make sense. Love it. Victory Till I Die also said you'll need to get up pretty early to get ready and look good for stream. I mean, there's a good chance I'm in my dressing gown first thing in the morning. I'm going to be in my Socceroos beanie and my Socceroos scarf and staying warm at 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's getting pretty chilly now. Long range shot from Mexico, not too far away. Following that corner. Mexico. I mean, they've had some great chances in this game. Victory Till I Die says the World Cup times are actually pretty good, especially compared to European times and the ridiculous times from Qatar 2022. Yeah, I mean, for Australian fans, we are used to sort of, watching these World Cup games in the middle of the night. But yeah, they're going to be much more comfortable this time around. 2 changes for Australia. Courtney Nevin and Alex Chidiac on. Caitlin Torpey is off. And we'll keep an eye on who Chidiac came on for there. It's Van Egmond who departs the field of play. So, Joe Montemuro relying on some of his experienced players here in this game, isn't he? Oh, let's fix that up. So that may well be the final substitutions made. I mean, you never know for friendlies what the rules are in regards to substitutions and windows and all that. But whether there's unlimited substitutions we'll see. We'll see if we're allowed to make any subs, but not too long to go in the game. So Courtney Nevin is on at left back in place of Caitlin Torpey. Torpey worked hard in this game, tried to get involved in midfield. but didn't provide too much going forward, unfortunately. And Alex Chidiac providing something different in midfield. I think Van Egmond overall had a good game. I had to drop a little bit deeper in the second half. And Alex Chidiac, can she get something happening from the middle of the park for Australia? Warm yourself with Swiss cheese at 5 a.m, says Manuel. Hey. As Manuel also says, Mexico could actually pinch this. It's honestly, if anyone's going to score, it like almost feels like it's going to be Mexico. They've had some promising signs just in the last few minutes. They've had a few set pieces. They've got a free kick right now from long range. And it's swung in. Australia have to deal with this. They've got it through to the far post. It comes across. Oh my goodness. Almost an own goal. Charlie Rule has just sent that millimeters over the crossbar. What an opportunity. Well, I'm not sure what that marking was. Courtney Nevin decided to come inside when there was a player in acres of space behind her. Corner coming up. Mexico are in control at the moment. Cross comes in. It's a good one. And Caitlin Ford just getting it clear. Mexico swing it back in though. Heatley having to work hard to get it away. Man, Mexico, I tell you what. They'll probably be disappointed that they haven't scored in this game. With the opportunities that they have had, they're going to be, I think, frustrated that they haven't found the score. They haven't gotten themselves on the score sheet. So, not long to go in this game now. 87th minute. It remains 0-0. Oh, Sam Kerr has won the ball. High up the pitch here. Chance to break away. Sam Kerr, great challenge, great tackle. Mexico's defense has been incredible. Absolute highlight of this game has been Mexico's back four. They have been near perfect, really, Mexico's defense. They haven't. They've really made Australia work hard in attack. And now they've got a chance on the counter. Mexico shot. Oh my goodness, so close for Mexico. So close for Mexico. Mackenzie Arnold was stretching and it's a corner. Mackenzie Arnold, did she get a touch on it? Perhaps a deflection? Great shot. The right foot swinging towards that far post. And I think Arnold's replays will show us that Mackenzie Arnold, well, that's a great save. And that may have been curling in. It may have been curling in. I mean, Arnold, as the header comes towards goal, just wide. Mexico are having chance after chance at the moment. This is intense, man. We are completely on the back foot right now. As Manuel also says, Mexico is actually getting better quality chances. Yes, better quality chances. That's the thing too. Like Australia, we've had a lot of chances this second half especially, but quality chances, that's Mexico, man. Mexico are the ones that are getting closest to scoring. Okay. Now, we should remember, as we are drawing to the end of this game, there was no added time at the end of that first half. In these friendly games, you never know what they're going to do. I mean, will we get any added time at the end of the second half? Like, they're just going to call the full-time whistle. Chidiac with a bit of space on the halfway line. Carpenter looks down the wing for Rasso. Again, Mexico just so well set up. We're having to really knock the ball around to try and find some spaces, to try and open up the gaps. Cut off in midfield. Mexico, too good. Winning it back through Nevin. Carpenter, through ball, but it's too heavy again. So another good example there. Good little area of the pitch that we got into there. Ellie Carpenter in an advanced position. Had Rasso making the run ahead of her down the right. And the pass was just a bit too heavy. And that, again, sums up, I think, this game for Australia. Working really hard. The effort's been there. But the quality in the final third has been absent this evening in Newcastle. Chidiac. Final stages of this game. Carpenter's delivery. Oh, that's a handball, no? Play on. Foul edge of the box. It looked like the ball bounced up and struck the hand of Mexico's defender. I don't know. Fowler's going to shoot. Deflection. Still there. Mexico clear. 3 minutes added on, folks. Feels about right. We haven't had too many stoppages. This has been a pretty free-flowing game overall, isn't it? It's been a good game overall. A competitive game. Yeah, Jessica says here our passes are so sloppy. Definitely need a bit of improvement there, hey? Like Kennedy trying the back heel. Didn't quite work out. 2 minutes remain now. 3 minutes of added time total, folks. So just 2 minutes remaining for either of these teams to snatch the win. And of course, these two teams will face off again in a few days' time. Tuesday evening in Sydney. Chidiac. Kennedy. Again, just breaking down in midfield, unfortunately. Mexico have a chance here on the counter. They're away down the left. Carpenter's out of position. Here's a great chance for Mexico. Oh my goodness, edge of the box. Surely for Mexico. They've scored. Mexico have done it. Mexico have done it. They're going to win the game. Mexico snatched the win late. Dramatic scenes in Newcastle. Unbelievable. And you got to say, they probably deserve it. You got to say they probably deserve it. With 1 minute on the clock. Mexico have won this game. Well, Australia committed numbers forwards. And the breakaway, it was onside too. I think it was a question mark of offside, but the goal scorer was onside. And Mackenzie Arnold, I mean, she couldn't really do much there. From close range, Mexico win. Incredible. Incredible. We said it for the last 15, 20 minutes now. If anyone's going to score, it looks like Mexico. Well, they did finally score. Incredible. As Jessica says, Joe will not be happy about this one. This is one of the low points of Joe Montemuro's campaign with Matildas so far. Ordonez scoring for Mexico in the 92nd minute. And the full-time whistle will ring out at any second now. 3 minutes total added on. The cameras are on Joe Montemuro right now, who is sitting on the bench and wondering where this one went wrong. And hopefully we see a response in Sydney on Tuesday. Incredible. Incredible late drama. Mexico finding the winner in the 92nd minute. Full time in Newcastle. It is all over. Matildas lose. Mexico 1, Australia 0. A performance that had a lot of great effort from Australia. Some good play overall. But to be honest, Mexico deserved that win. Mexico deserved that win. They were the better team in the end, in my opinion. Much more effective going forward. They found the quality in the end to score the goal and defended so well. And that's football for you, man. I mean, Australia had a lot of possession, a lot of shots, but wasn't enough in the end to find the goal. But I guess the only positive is that we get to play Mexico on Tuesday. We get to respond after this result. And it's going to be a big test for head coach Joe Montemurro in particular to show what is he going to do tactically and personnel-wise to get a positive result next week in Sydney. Because we can't perform like that again. That's very straightforward, yeah. Cannot perform like that again. Big call from Manuel. He says, do not be surprised if Matildas are knocked out in the group stage. Well, I mean, if we play like that at the World Cup, there's a good chance that happens, honestly. Random Stuff says Joe needs to put away his whiteboard and possession tactics and just get at teams. Like, again, like the overall, the general football I think that we played today was okay. Just once we got into the final third, that's where it was lacking. And again, it's like, do you put it down to like Mexico's quality defense, or do you put it down to Australia just like lacking, maybe a bit of creativity or lacking the quality on that final pass? I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both at the end of the day. Where there were some moments where Mexico defended really well, some great sliding challenges and some great blocks, and as well, I mean, there were still so many moments where if we just got that pass correct, if we just weighted it a little bit better, even the decision making, there was sometimes we rushed things, and if we improve in that department, we could have won this game. This game could have looked very different. We could have scored, 2, 3, 4 goals if we just had that quality in the final third. Because we had the possession, we had the chances, we had the shots in the end, but not enough shots on targets, not testing Mexico's goalkeeper enough. It's a 1-0 defeat for Australia. So as we speak right now, Joe Montemurro is in the huddle with the whole of the team, and he's clearly having some passionate words with the entire squad and coaching staff. I'd be very curious to know what he's saying right now, man. What's his message to the players? Again, not a disastrous game from the Matildas. We were controlling large portions of that match. We were looking good overall. But quality is required. I think the main concerning thing is that we were playing a very strong starting 11 here. That's probably the other concerning thing. Like we had Kerr, we had Ford, we had Fowler, Rasso, Van Egmond. I mean, Sayar, we had creativity in this team. We had attacking outlets in this squad, in this starting 11 tonight, and we were still unable to find the win, to find the goal, full stop. All right, what are we saying? Manuel says there's no one to bring in from the junior teams to replace any of the current 11. I mean, the current 11 are too good right now. There's certainly a number of really good young players coming through, especially in the A-Leagues. There certainly is. Compact says that's the most disjointed and uninspired I've seen the Tillies for a while, in my opinion. It's certainly, like, as far as Joe Montemurro's been in charge, that probably, again, like, it wasn't a terrible performance, but it probably was one of our poorer performances under Joe Montemurro. It was, just lacking a whole lot of quality in the final third. And even playing out from the back at times, we were looking quite shaky. We were looking quite shaky at the back. Especially that there was a good chunk in that first half where the goal kicks we just like couldn't get out. And we weren't able to deal with that pressure that Mexico were applying. But again, we're going to hope that Montemurro is taking a lot of lessons out of this game. And I mean, like, it's a very strong 11 that started here, but surely the 11 that plays in Sydney next week is going to look very different. Surely, right? Surely. I mean, who do you look to off the bench? We've got some less experienced players at Matilda's level, but still some quality players on the bench, whether Izzy Gomez comes in, Letitia McKenna, perhaps Alex Chidiac starts, does Rasso start? Big calls for Montemurro to make, that's for sure. G'day, Chan Lee. Friendly match, this one. Friendly match. For those just joining us, Mexico 1, Australia 0. Big results for Mexico. Australia had some opportunities, but not enough quality opportunities in the end. A disappointing result in the end for Australia. Ben Hall, that's a good point, Ben. That's a great point, Ben, who says Cooney Cross is irreplaceable in midfield. Missing her tonight. Yeah. Yeah, big player missing for Australia at the moment. Kyra Cooney Cross, we know the quality she brings in the centre of the park. And yeah, she probably is in Australia's strongest starting 11. She's probably our best midfield player, Kyra Cooney Cross. So yeah, I think we did miss her quality in the centre of the field tonight, that's for sure. But again, we can't forget that we did have a very strong 11 overall tonight that was more than capable of claiming victory this evening. But hey, maybe this is a year out from the World Cup for the Matildas. This is the time where, look, we never want to lose, but if you're going to lose, this is the time to do it, to try and sort these things out, see where our weaknesses are. And it's clear that maybe our attacking setup just needs a little bit of work. Maybe it's a tactic thing. I don't know. I mean, personnel-wise, we've got some great players that were in the front third there, but I don't know. Maybe it's a tactical thing that needs to be tweaked a little bit. So we may well see a slightly different formation on Tuesday, perhaps, and we may well see not a completely different starting lineup, but there may well be a number of changes for Game 2 in Sydney on Tuesday evening. We'll also be live in not too long, actually, in about, 8 hours or so. We will be live for the Socceroos game against Switzerland, so join us for that one very soon. Manuel says the difference now is that now the teams ranked 11th to 20th can beat Matildas easily. Now that's concerning. Yeah, we want to make sure we're not dropping away. We want to make sure that we're continuing to advance, continuing to develop, and continuing to rise up the rankings. That's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. Jessica says, I miss Kyra and Minnie. We needed them. Yep, Katrina Gorry. Yep, Kyra Cooney Cross and Katrina Gorry. Two of our top midfield players not involved in this camp for the Matildas. Yeah, in a World Cup setting, we probably would need those two players. That's for sure. Still a very strong squad overall for Australia. But again, I go back to that point. I think Mexico deserved to win. Like, if you look at this game from a neutral point of view, yes, Australia had more possession and shots in the end, but Mexico had the better quality opportunities, and they defended so well. And on the counter-attack, they just looked too good. They were getting in behind far too easily, and it just felt like they were going to score sooner than later. The credit to Mexico for playing would you call it a near-perfect game for them? I think it is. They defended so well. They limited Australia's opportunities. They denied Australia, quality chances on goal. And they got forward and took their opportunity right at the death. Incredible for Mexico. And devastating for Australia. So now the attention turns to Tuesday's game in Sydney next week. So guys, we're going to tune out there. Thanks very much for joining us for this live watch along tonight. We will be live in about 8 hours' time for the Socceroos game against Switzerland. Very much looking forward to that one. So let's get some sleep. Let's get up in the morning and watch the Socceroos in that final World Cup warm-up match, with obviously the World Cup getting underway next week as well. So hit the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. Stay subscribed. Don't miss our live watch-alongs here on the channel. And as mentioned, we will be live in about 8 hours' time for the Socceroos game. Thanks guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Stay warm, stay healthy, stay happy. And I'll see you guys in the morning. Cheers.